Apex Online Racing is sponsored by Elgato, who created this lovely Stream Deck. For more information about the Stream Deck, the link is in the description below.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome along to Apex Online Racing. My name's Ethan Graham, also known as VSR Rotary. Joining me live once again in the Formula Rookie season is Jess. Hello, Jess. How you doing?
I am doing great this evening, Ethan, and after what a great race we've had, well, great two races we had last week, I'm very much looking forward to commentating on another great Formula Rookie race here at Sportsland Sugo in Japan.
Yeah, exactly. Dubai treated us to an absolutely spectacular set of races with new drivers putting themselves on the top spots, such as Esther and Vectro taking some podium positions last week out. But now we're in a totally different kettle of fish. We're here at the Sportsland Sugo circuit, used for Super GT and Super Formula, I believe, at some point, and also Japanese Formula 3. But today, a place host to the Formula Rookies, and we're hoping Sportsland Sugo is going to provide just like it did, like we got the racing from last week.
Yeah, we got a few penalties to go through, but we'll go through that in a minute. But going through the weather, it's going to be a lot different as we discussed at the end of last week. It's going to be, obviously, the weather you're seeing in qualifying is what we're seeing now. It's going to be early in the morning in race 1, nice and sunny at the crack of dawn. And then race 2, we're going to see some wet weather in our midst, so should make things very intriguing, and not many people have experienced the wet weather, especially the newcomers to this league.
No, certainly the conditions are definitely going to spice things up. Obviously, in the morning it's probably going to be quite cold, the sun's going to be low, so it's going to be quite difficult for the drivers. And then it's a completely polar opposite race for race 2, where it's going to be raining, of course. Rain in these cars is going to make it about 100 times harder to drive these cars, because of course they've got really skinny tyres which aren't going to clear out most of the water, so expect a lot of aquaplaning. And also these cars have no assist, no ABS, so very easy to lock those tyres up and go rotating around. So this is going to be a real test for the drivers. This is going to show who stands out in controlling these cars.
Yep, exactly. One driver that did quite well last week is obviously last week's second race winner, Kozlowski. He had a little bit of instance with Jazzman, but obviously they were going to take it to the stewards, Jazzman wasn't going to take it to the stewards, but they both decided a mutual agreement that it was a racing incident, so they cancelled that inquiry, and the results stay as it stand. But I think he needs to be a bit more careful going into this week that he doesn't get in more incidents like that, as it's almost resulted in Jazzman almost quitting the lead. But luckily Jazzman's back for the final 2 rounds this season, and to be honest, it wouldn't be the same without Jazzman anyway, so it's good to have him back as well. So we've got a few times on the board. Lap times, I've already matched our predictions. We thought it was going to be a low 32, and some of the people could be in the 131s. We're already into the early 131s already, with Big Kid Daddy in first and Schwartz in second place. No Evil Dragon tonight. His Project Cars 2 disc has decided to fail on him, so he can't race tonight, sad times, but hopefully he should get it sorted for next week, because he drove superbly last week before his incident. He actually led a race, which was too hard to believe, but he did a brilliant job and he adapted to the wheel quite nicely.
Yeah, it certainly was the case. Unfortunately, still plumb last in the standings, but I tell you what, that second race in Dubai would have jumped him up a few positions had he not been, I think we concluded was maybe lag between him and Mr. Kozlowski. It seemed like a very, very dodgy incident, but we put it down to lag, and unfortunately Evil's not going to get a taste of what it's like to drive these cars in the rain in the actual race. But a solution has been found, and hopefully we should see him back next week, so Evil will still get his chance to finish out the league But looking at lap times, Big Cadeli 1:31.2 already, so I think we could be seeing a few 30s potentially. Maybe the fastest we can see is maybe a low 30. Who knows? Let's see what's possible.
Yeah, indeed. Obviously, Tom and obviously Berno, the only ones not to set a lap time at the moment. Let's hope they can get one in pretty soon as well. The tyres are going to be a lot tricky in the wet as well, but they're not as bad in the dry, obviously, as it's quite windy, some of these corners around the circuit. It's 9 corners, well, 9 turns in this beautiful circuit as well, and quite a few places to overtake too. And obviously that they don't need to worry about mandatory pit stops because there's nothing, but there's some corners where a lot of people can make mistakes, just like we've seen in the first race where the track was a lot similar to what we're seeing now. So yeah, a lot of downhill sections and a lot of uphill sections for these guys to be aware of. Vetro's not going to have the tow today because obviously he doesn't have his teammate, but I can already see a few teams helping each other out, like Fozzie and Essa as well. They're quite close together, matched on lap times, and I can see Big Kid Daddy and Tinnis helping each other as well. The team dynamic is definitely going to help, and that is why Big Kid Daddy's team, along with obviously Tinnis, they're leading the standings at the moment, the team standings, with only 9 points between them and Slow Motion Ninjas. Now, if Slow Motion Ninjas wants to lead this championship at teams-wise, Jazzman needs to get some better results. His only best finish was a P2 in the first race, and then he got P9 downwards in the second race in the first week, and then obviously
I think may have lost you there, Jess. A bit of lag, potentially.
Oh, I think I'm fine now.
Yeah, we're good.
Good.
I think.
Yeah. Well, you can carry on speaking anyway.
What was I going to say? I think we were talking about the track for a brief moment there. This track definitely it's going to suit these cars quite a bit. It's quite a lot of momentum carrying, so it's going to be really helpful for the cars, but obviously a lot of uphill and downhill sections, so it's going to be really tricky to keep these cars in motion, especially that first chicane. A very tricky chicane indeed, actually, as Fozzie and Essa still towing each other around. I've got to say, the Kaiser's completely blitzed the qualifier there with a 30.5. This track it's got a few dangerous corners around here, especially the final corner, the long sweeping right-hander. If we can just try and catch a car that's going through there. It's not Vectro, maybe Jazzman? No, just trying to find a car who's going through there. Here we go, Leroy. If we go on board with him, there's a particular section of this corner that can be very, very dangerous. Caught out one of the Season 13 GT3 drivers. These red and white bollards on the inside, they do a ton of damage to any car that hit them. GT3, it can completely rip the suspension off. For a Formula Rookie, the whole car will get destroyed. So you don't want to be hitting those and they go flying around the circuit. So that's going to be something for the drivers to contend with as well.
Yep, exactly. Leroy, I think one of those other drivers, I think, last week that I think had a little bit of a moment, which could have, for him, if he didn't have that moment, he could have scored higher up the grid as well. So we're seeing quite a mixture of drivers, like you said, fighting at the top that we weren't expecting to, and that's great to see, obviously. But obviously, some of the guys are looking for more consistency, like obviously Berno. I think he only got 1 4th place, and that was pretty much it. And obviously Danny Boy as well, and I could see Fozzie up there as well, higher up, if he continues obviously helping his teammate very well as well. So pretty much anyone could score high up today. That's how close it is. And Miss Kozlowski has just smashed the timing balls just now as well with a 1:30.3. So the tracks are getting hotter, which means faster lap times, which is not closer lap times, but faster lap times. It's going to be really hard for some of the drivers to beat that.
Yeah, it certainly is, but we don't want the track to get too hot, because if it gets too hot, the times will actually slow down, which should end up overheating the tyres. But we're very close to the 29s. I don't think a 29 is possible. I haven't seen anybody do it, but if someone manages to pull that out of the bag, that is going to be a stellar lap. Unfortunately, I don't think Jazzman's going to get to do a pretty good lap here, because he's got traffic in the way. And yeah, he does, in fact, lift off there. Doesn't want to lift off too much, though. His teammate's there. But like you said, Jesse, some drivers will be aiming for consistency, and I think that's the way to do it. I don't think outright pace is the ultimate winner here. Being consistent with how close this field is you're going to gain a lot of points by just finishing pretty well in the top 10. And if you finish in P6, P7 every race, maybe a P, if you do a really good job, maybe P5, P4, but if you're, trying to go as fast as you can, you're more likely to crash and make a mistake or gain a penalty and lose a ton of time. So the way I see it, if you're very consistent in both races, you're going to get a good points haul. But of course, some drivers are going to want to be consistent and fast, and that's the people like Jazzman, Kaiser, the people who are at the front consistently every race. They're the guys who are setting the standard.
Let's hope Jazzman doesn't get too unlucky this race, because obviously he's a bit disappointed of how his season is going so far, apart from the first result. One penalty to be aware of. Obviously, Vetro obviously had a 30-second penalty last time about. That got removed from the stewards because that was deemed unfair, because obviously he was trying to overtake and he was pushed off the circuit, and he got a penalty due to that. So that got removed, and that put him back up to third place. And if he didn't get that 1 second penalty, that would have been P2, obviously. So for people like Vetro, do you think for some people in the second race they will aim for, say, like the middle half in the first race and probably the top half in the second race potentially?
There's a lot of strategy behind it, but it's kind of hard to tell what people will do, because you see, it's kind of almost like they go at it in both races. I mean, the battle we had in race 1 was pretty good at Dubai. It was just the top 3. But in race 2, we had about 6-7 drivers at one point all going at it, jockeying for position. But it's really hard to tell what drivers are going to do here. I think at Sugo, it's definitely going to be a bit more relaxed, because there's not as much runoff. If there is no runoff here, there's no tarmac runoffs other than turn number 1. I think, yeah, the turn number 1 is the only part of the circuit with a tarmac runoff. Everywhere else is just grass and gravel. So you can't really afford to be, battling like you could at Dubai, because there's not that extra room to allow for you to make mistakes. Here, it's going to bite you if you do make a mistake here.
Yeah, like we've seen, I think, it's kind of similar to what we've seen in other Japan races, like Sakito as well. No room for mistakes there, especially through the twisty S section and 130R as well. If you mess that up, that's going to cost you, and I think that's what Jazzman has got to think about to avoid that. Miss Kozlowski, of course, and that's why some people who didn't get involved in a collision, like Big Kid Daddy, that's why Big Kid Daddy's higher up in the standings, due to the fact he's got 2 podiums and 2 fifth places. He hasn't scored lower than 5th place. I think that's the highest we've seen out of everyone. So that's brilliant to see from him. And he's only 6 points behind, obviously, Kaiser, who got a 10th place in the second race in the first week, which definitely costed him. So this championship battle is far from over yet between these guys, and I'm glad it's close. I'm glad it's not as dominant as the GT3, but we only got 4 races to go. If one of these drivers make mistakes, then it could allow some of these other drivers, like the Kozlowski, Esser, Tinnis, or maybe even Schwantz, to close the gap a little bit and maybe still try and win this, because there's 50 points per race, and pretty much almost everyone is mathematically within a chance of still taking the championship. Some of them will need a miracle, though, as we can see Kaiser and Jazzman giving each other slipstream, which is great to see as well. I think one of the I think it's either Esser or Fozzie. They didn't want that. I think no, it was Esser actually.
Fozzie.
Oh, Fozzie. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, and that's I think that was Jazzman going off at the second turn, and no idea what's just happened to him. I think he was just done with his lap there and just decides to plough it into the barrier for some reason. But like I said, Jess, these the points, it's so close. These final 4 races are really going to be crucial, but honestly, if you want my personal opinion, it's this second race in the wet is where it's going to really, really shake things up. That's where it's going to be. That's going to be the deciding factor in the season, because this is the only wet race we're going to have, and that's going to be the crucial point for this season. Whoever can nail it up in the wet, avoid the mistakes, avoid the contact, they're going to be in for a good chance to get a good result here. So I'm hoping, well, I'm sure most of the drivers would have realised that if I get a good result in the wet, that's going to set me up really good for the final 2 races next week.
Yeah, because obviously drive for the final 2 races in obviously I need to actually remember what the final race is. Outland Park, there we go. I thought it was Donington for a minute, but no, it's Outland Park. It's one of the parks anyway. So yeah, I think the ones who are used to the wet conditions already, they're going to be all right. But I think that what's going to hinder them is the other drivers who may get involved in incidents near them that could hinder their races. So qualifying is just about to finish, as we've got a few people that's just about to cross the line. I think almost everyone's about to start a lap. We've got a few people that just finished on the lap, so they won't have time to set any more lap times. The times are pretty close now, apart from Tom, who's about 2.4 seconds down the road. Everybody else seems to be within the 1.1 second, 1.9 second mark, so that's great to see, of course. And we had one other person crossing the line. I didn't see who that was. I think pretty much almost everyone is finished. I can see, obviously, Tinnis and Big Kid Daddy getting a tow, but not many other people giving a tow at the moment, so I think it's just going to be down to pure pace at the moment. Can anyone beat Mr. Kozlowski's time, or could Kaiser achieve that? He's only got to find 2 temps, and that's it. Esther got P3 last week, and he's only got a few more corners to go. This is a long run into the start-finish straight. This is where you can make or break your lap as well. We got Big Kid Daddy and Tinnis following suit as well. Let's see if Esther can find time. I don't think he improves on this time. What about Tinnis? Can he find time on 1:31.1? No, he can't. And I think it's just Kaiser to improve as well, as well as a few other cars behind him as well. And nope, he doesn't improve. So I'm shocked. I'm shocked with Kaiser. I thought he was going to improve on his lap time, but he didn't. But there we go. By only 0.2 per second, Miss Kozlowski once again is on pole position. Let's hope he could be a lot better in the race this time, because that can help him. Obviously, we've got Kaiser in second. I'm going to call Big Kid Daddy Mr. Consistent Boy, because he is. And then we've got Schwantz in 4th, Jazzman 5th, Tinnis 5th, 6th, Essa 7th. Then we've got Danny, Prent, Bernard rounds up your top 10. And we got Fozzie, Leroy, Kart, Vetra, and leading up the rear is Tom G, who is in last place. And we're about to go to our first race in the standing start, which means they got to focus a bit more and have the best reaction as they possibly can.
Yeah, certainly the case, as Mr. Kozlowski once again put it on position. He's been putting it on pole a lot. He's just not been getting the race result, and that's the issue. He's getting himself into too many incidents. Yeah, he's pulling out these amazing qualifyings, but he's ruining that with some rather unfortunate bad races with silly contact. If he can just get rid of those mistakes, yeah, he's a really fast driver. You know, he's doing incredibly well, but it's just them silly contacts and stuff like that. That's what's ruining it. So if he can iron those out, he may stand a chance. He may stand a chance of being in championship contention. But I honestly think what happened at Dubai last week has really hampered him, because he was on for a good race in the first race. If he could have backed that second race up with the first race, he'd be in a really good position now. But he's got some work to do. And put it on pole position, that is the best possible way to do it. So let's see if he can, qualifying's one thing, the race is another. If he can top off the icing with this race, then it's all good.
Yeah, 23 points separates Miss Kozlowski and Kaiser, and 17 points separating between Kozlowski and Big Kid Daddy. So the gap is pretty close.
Yeah, we're sinking. The gap is certainly close, but here we go. The lights are on. And we're away at Sugo. Kart's already picked up a jump start, but crucially, Mr. Kozlowski's got an awesome start. Look at the drive he's got. Look at the gap. It's already probably about half a tenth there. Yeah, he's certainly nailed that start, so that's brilliant. So he's got that bit done. Now he's just got to hold on to the rest of it for the rest of the race. Big Kid Daddy, meanwhile, being swamped by the slow motion ninjas of Jasmine and Kaiser. And then Schwantz closely following behind. But it seems, Jess, it's all been a clean start. As I say that, I think Schwantz and Tinnis have come under contact. They certainly have. So there's the first commentator curse out of the way. Let's hope it's not a second one. Ooh, clear for the chicane. No, it's not. It's more contact in the chicane. I'm going to stop talking because I'm jinxing it.
Thank goodness I'm not the one jinxing at this time at the moment as well. I think a few people lost a few positions as well, and that's allowing the guys we won't usually expect up as well. Obviously, Kart's up into 11th, but he's probably have to serve his penalty as well. Kaiser stayed in 2nd place, but he's going to be under pressure from Big Kid Daddy pretty soon. And obviously, Jazzman will probably help his teammate as well. So soon, I think Big Kid Daddy's going to be in a pretty much in a slow motion ninja sandwich. He's going to hope that he has his teammate catching up pretty soon. But we've got Miss Kozlowski trying to defend off the Kaiser quite nicely, actually. But obviously, Kaiser's trying to defend from the other two as well. Let's see if Jazzman can help. He's got to. And it's almost going to be 3 wide going into the start-finish straight. It was almost 4 wider in the last race we've seen in Dubai. I hope this doesn't end up here. Obviously, one person has got to back out, and I think that will be Jazzman as they all go through turn 1. And Kaiser with a good run there coming into the tight turn 2. There was the turn 2 and 3 is not that long at all. It's really, really tight corners. So they've got to get it right completely, and obviously the top 6 are pretty close together. Now Tinnis is allowing to come back in the fight due to everybody else being so close.
Yeah, they're bunching each other up, but obviously the circuit, it's a lot of slow corners and fast corners, so the momentum consistently changes. It goes from high speed to low speed. Now what, 3 wide and already just on the starting of the 2nd lap. So what? These guys got to be careful. There's not a lot of room here at this circuit. You know, it just about gets, 2 or 3 GT3 cars going 3 wide. You know, these former rookies, they're not going to be doing that either. As Tinnis, I believe, is going for a move. That's a really shoddy camera there from. Again, that's not helpful at all. As that's Kaiser going wide there, out the exit of the downhill hairpin. Now, Big Kid Daddy on the outside. Whoa, they come into contact, but it just about held on to that. Now, Jazzman's looking for the position now that Big Kid Daddy's been. Oh, that's a car in the background going off.
That's Essa.
It's Essa. I think he caught the curb and then did a pirouette in the middle of the circuit and somehow has not been collected. Some amazing reactions there from the drivers. I just caught that in the background there. But, oh, holy moly, here we go. 3 wide, nearly 4 wide. That's a lot of cars. This Big Kid Daddy with momentum trying to go into 2nd position. He's got it briefly. Kaiser's still on the inside. Slight bit of contact. Schwantz is there now. He's kind of rubbing up. So we've lost the driver, unfortunately.
That's Vetro. That's Vetro.
Unfortunately, losing Vetro there, and Jazzman's lost 3 positions. Nearly 2 free positions. He's now got Tinnis right up his trumpet there. Right up on the gearbox there. He's trying to find a way through. Now Jazzman has really been set back, but he's going immediately for Schwantz there. Schwantz got a really bad exit out there. Jazzman up the inside. Oh no, he's pirouetted. He's got to wait. He's got to wait up, and now he's had contact with Tinnis, and he's not waiting up. He's not waited up. I think he should be waiting up for that personally.
Yeah, like I said, it's just like Jazzman is taking far too many risks at this early stage of the race. You can't do that because incidents like that happen, and that's why people are getting damaged. Now, Vetro did get damaged on the 1st lap, and I think it was too substantial that he had to retire from the race, which was a bit of a shame. So that was from my inside sources. Now, Schwantz is now down into 13th place, and is now trying to battle Tom. Now, that's going to be tricky with a little bit of damage to his car, but and it's only 15 minutes to go. There's still a lot of time to be lost, to be gained and lost. But obviously, this is the only dry race of the weekend, so if you're not going to... I've got to stop speaking now because I just caused another commentator's curse.
What the... What just happened there?
I really don't know.
Because Schwantz has got such little damage, I don't think Fozzie was expecting that, and he's just ploughed straight into the back of him. This is really unfortunate stuff here, but to be honest, I don't think Schwartzman would be in that position because Jazzman, he went for the move and then hesitated, and he was still there. You know, he put his wheel alongside and then just hesitated and decided. It was almost like he was stuck. He was like, "Do I want to make this move or do I not make the move?" And he just kind of stayed there and just kind of pirouetted Schwantz around. It might have been lag for all we know, but you know, if you're going to go for a move, you've got to make sure you're committed to it because you can't just suddenly back out of it if you're there because that's how contact like that happens. So if you go for a move, you've got to either stick with it or you've got to plan ahead and decide when you're going to make a move. But unfortunately, Schwantz has well and truly been punted out of the race now, unfortunately. But he's going to soldier on by the looks of it.
That's good to see. Obviously, that's what I would have done. If you're still at the back, you can still If you get points for finishing, even though it's only a few points, and since not every driver is racing tonight, then obviously you'll get more than 1 point at least. You'll get at least 2, so that's good to see as well. Meanwhile, Kaiser again is under pressure from Mr. Consistent Big Kid Daddy. They're going to go side by side, and Big Kid Daddy's not going to let this go. Kaiser with a better run, obviously. I don't know how Mr. Kozlowski's trying to defend from this, but Big Kid Daddy almost trying to get past the leader, but again, he doesn't want to take any risks and obviously stays in 3rd place for now. This is very tight between the leaders. If this carries on, hopefully it doesn't end in a shunt. They've got to make sure they keep at it, and for some of these guys, if I was Big Kid Daddy, just keep up with the pace and then try and go for the move towards the end potentially, or it might be too little too late, so maybe halfway through. Just don't go for moves that you find too risky at times, but for some drivers, they want to take it too risky, but only do it when you know it's going to work and not cause any incidents. So, and we got Tinnis in there as well. Big Kid Daddy must be loving this. He's going to have his teammate to help him, and here comes Big Kid Daddy, going to spice this up at this opportunity. Kaiser, I think, is definitely going to be under pressure. He's going to go for the lead. Oh, this is very, very tight. I don't want to be in any of those shoes right now, but unfortunately, Kozlowski holds on to the lead. He's keeping it clean, which is great to see. He's learned his lesson from last week.
Yeah, well, these guys are all very, very close, so I'm just hoping they're going to keep it clean and there's no silly contact. Mr. Kozlowski dealing with the pressure very well. Big Kid Daddy trying to find his way through, but he's got to be careful he doesn't ruin his momentum and sets himself up to be overtaken by Jazzman, because now Jazzman is sniffing all over the rear of Big Kid Daddy, whilst Big Kid Daddy's looking for a move on Kaiser, who moves to the left. Big Kid Daddy lunges to the right-hand side of the track. He's up the inside of all of them. If he outbreaks them all, he could go into P1, but no, it's the Kaiser who takes P1 now. Big Kid Daddy's still there. He's got the inside line for the next corner. As the Kaiser held onto the corner, he's going for the inside. No, it's Big Kid Daddy who takes the lead. What an amazing move there. He got the momentum. He sent it up the inside, held the line perfectly. Now, all these guys behind here are now going to be squabbling all over the position. Now, Mr. Kozlowski has gone from 1st down into 4th and may potentially go down into 5th. But now it's Big Kid Daddy, the Kaiser and Jazzman who occupy the top 3 positions.
Yep, indeed. Big Kid Daddy has been looking to have his first win in this league for absolutely ages. We've seen Kozlowski do it, and Kaiser, and Esser, obviously, with his big upset in last week, and Schwantz as well. But Big Kid Daddy, pretty much, if he gets the win today, he'll deserve it. As the 2 teammates of Jazzman and obviously Kaiser, they're really going for it right now. But I'm sure, I wonder if there's going to be team orders coming into play. Kaiser may be thinking, right, I'm leading the championship right now, you're not, let me pass please. But Jazzman's still got a lot of points to make up. He's still mathematically in this. He wants to be in the title fight as well. So I don't know what to think. But if I was them, potentially, if Jazzman can't make the move on Big Kid Daddy, let's see if Kaiser can. Or maybe that's what they both have done. Kaiser's going to try and go for the move. I think they're going to challenge it. There's not going to be team orders whatsoever. It's almost going to be 3 wide as Kozlowski's right in the middle of this. Let's hope this doesn't end up like last week. Oh, I think one of the slow motion ninjas has almost gone off the circuit there, but I think Mr. Kozlowski's learned his lesson and not touched them in any way, shape or form. But he's battling this time. He's battling the both of them. So, and there's Tinniswell behind as well. This can shape up to be. If we only got 10 minutes to go, I can't call it. I really can't call it.
Yeah, this is anybody's game in this, and they're all so close. I mean, everyone's really close in the circuit, but this is the main battle. This is where it's crucial. Big Kid Daddy really holding on to that position. Jazzman kind of ran himself off the road a little bit in the first turn. That's allowed Mr. Kozlowski to retake 3rd position. Obviously, Jazzman, we don't know if that contact with Schwantz was actually legitimate contact or if it was lag. So Jazzman might not even finish in these positions potentially, but we'll just leave it as it is for now and just wait and see for next week if anything does happen. But Mr. Kozlowski holding on to P3 very well, but Jazzman is relentless, and I think his eyes are red. I think Jazzman has seen red. He's fueled and fired up, and he wants as many points as he can because he's sitting in 9th at the moment. But with how close it all is and the points all you can get, you can jump up a lot of positions, and I think Jazzman definitely wants to do that, but Big Kid Daddy's running off of it.
Yeah, 15 points separate between him and Tinnis. And obviously Tinnis is not far behind, so he wants to be ahead of Tinnis and pretty much his teammate as well. Look, Mr. Kozlowski going to try and go for a move once again on Jazzman. This is like the battle of all battles between these two. I think these are like the Hamilton and Rosberg pretty much of F1. You don't want to fight with these two, I must say. Let's hope it doesn't get too twisty right now. And the lap times are pretty similar between obviously Mr. Kozlowski and Tinnis as well. So he's got not one but two drivers to worry about. And obviously these two guys are a lot faster than the top three in front. So they don't want to get hold up. Imagine if they don't get hold up. They're probably going to be three of these guys now.
Yeah. The pace is so close that just any move, any lack of momentum is going to be crucial. When you see Mr. Kozlowski went wide at turn one, Jazzman instantly went up the inside. It's like karting, you know, if you make a mistake, as Jazzman does there, locks up and goes off the circuit. One little mistake is going to cost you. That's it now. He's lost touch with those guys. That's it now. I doubt he's going to regain those positions now, unless something goes on here. But Jazzman's got a bit of free air now. He could potentially catch up, but any little mistake, that's it. And Jazzman has lost a lot of momentum and positions there. Further down the field, there's a good few battles in the at the back of the grid, stuff like that. Burno, apparently there's somebody quite close to them. It's about a second, so I'm not quite sure why it's coming up with a close battle there. But this is a close battle. Pren and Tom G going side by side for 9th and 8th position. Looks like Pren's got that move done nice and early. Further back, last week's winner of Race 1, Essa, not having the same amount of luck, to say the least.
Nope, he's not. That's a bit of a shame. Obviously, he preferred Dubai last week. He practiced a lot more on that, but he was not too keen on Sugo, but he practiced for that anyway. But there's some tracks you like and some tracks you hate. But let's hope he could carry on. Well, he can improve for the second race, because as we've seen some of the other drivers do, if they were so lower down, of course. And as it stands, if things stay the way they are, we got Pren that'll be starting on pole position. So I think Pren, I don't know if he wants to, if he loses in 8th place, he pretty much will lose 8 positions in the next race. So that's going to be tricky. And you want to really gain track position at the start of the wet conditions. But Kaiser is up into 2nd place now with 6 minutes left to go. These positions keep switching and changing between. It was top 5, but now it is the top 4 pretty much. So obviously Jazzman had a little bit of a mistake. Unfortunately, we didn't see the extent of what happened with Jazzman due to the cameras. The camera saw the tree, really. But yeah, didn't really matter. It's up to these 4 now to show us what they can do with obviously a few laps to go. Here's come Mr. Kozlowski again with the better straight line speed. I think he's going to be lead. He's got Jazzman out of his tail, but let's just see what happens. I think Big Kidali. Oh! Could this be a double overtake? Surely not. Nope, it's not. I think Big Kid Daddy with a better straight line speed has really helped him there.
Big Kid Daddy holding the lead perfectly. Tinnis, though, kind of struggling to get by these guys, but it's Mr. Kozlowski who takes P2 away from the Kaiser. Kaiser's starting to crack a little bit under the pressure, starting to make a few mistakes here and there. That's not what you want, because, like, you know, you saw what happened with Jazzman, just a little mistake, and, you know, it's just all gone. Kaiser can't be affording to do that, especially being in the lead of the championship. And I think Big Kid Daddy's only about 6 points, I think, behind. So can't really be affording to making those mistakes. As Schwantz is in the pit to get out, and there he goes. Actually, he does retire with 5 minutes to go, unfortunately. That's kind of unfortunate to see there. A few drivers with penalties here and there. Let's just have a look. 1 second, 3 seconds. Cart with his 20-second jump start. And Tom G with a 3-second penalty. So we're not actually too bad. Sugo is usually quite strict with the penalties, but this time he's being a little bit kind.
Yeah, maybe because they knew, I think they were told about the track limits. Maybe they just didn't want to be punished even more, because if you do get punished with penalties, you get punished severely on this game, as for some of these other tracks as well. I've noticed around here, GT3 Season 13 was definitely an experience with a lot of penalties, especially when I was commentating on Xbox One. But here we go again, Mr. Kozlowski. Could this be the lead winning move that he's looking for? He started on pole. Is he going to get the lead again? He's done it. Brilliant move from him. He made it work this time. There was no match for Big Kid Daddy, unfortunately, but he's only got a few minutes to go. It is far from over yet, but Look, he's going to go for a move once again. They're just so matched on pace at the moment. Don't forget also the fastest lap. You'll get an extra fastest lap point if you get the fastest lap, no matter where you are in the field right now. So that's what some of these top guys are also aiming for as well. Potentially, Kozlowski could get the maximum points here, but I did see someone with a 131 earlier on as well, and it is obviously starting to beat down a little bit, as obviously it is early dawn at the moment. And let's see Big Kid Daddy. No, he's not going to go for the move there, and his tight little hairpin. But look at that, Miss Kozlowski already knew where Big Kid Daddy was going. That's probably why he wasn't going to go for the move yet. So fair play for Miss Kozlowski there. All tightly bunched up again. I mean, every point can make a difference here in this league. And obviously, I think from the way this is going, the team's championship is looking good in Tier 2's Motorsport's favour. So obviously they got 2 cars in the top 4. But here comes Kaiser.
Up the inside, he took the title line. It was a shorter distance, so he gained more momentum. And it certainly worked out. Big Kid Daddy now defended from his teammate. Oh, it's 3 wide into turn number 1. Mr. Kozlowski did it around the outside of Big Kid Daddy. I think Big Kid Daddy's going to return the favour. Oh, he certainly does so, but he's not got the exit. And now Mr. Kozlowski's back up the inside. Big Kid Daddy's got the inside for this corner. He's ahead into the corner. Oh, touching the nose of Mr. Kozlowski. Just he's had the tank stop and he's gone into the barrier. Oh, that's it. All gone now. I think he just got the slightest tank slapper. That is hefty damage there. The rear of the car straight into the barrier there, and that's race right at the dying moments as well. And that spectacular move around the outside of Big Kid Daddy last lap, and that's heartbreaking to see that. Now Kaiser's been gifted the race lead, but Big Kid Daddy is not letting him get away with it. But where's Big Kid Daddy? There he is around the outside, surely not. No, he's ran himself out off the road there. Not the way to do it. Really, the only way you're going to make a move on the inside of that corner, well, is to go down the inside. Going around the outside is definitely not going to work there at all. But the Kaiser's got a bit of a bad exit there. Big Kid Daddy could just slingshot up the inside potentially. See, he goes wide to cut back in. Should allow for a better exit, but Kaiser's just got a good of exit as Big Kid Daddy does. But Big Kid Daddy, there we go. Now he goes to the inside. There's that momentum. Now it's all going to be down to who can outbrake each other into the line. This is going to be the final lap of the race, so we're heading on to the final lap now, Jess. It's all to play for between these 3. Jazzman's just slightly out of touch, but if anything happens with these guys up here, I tell you what, Jazzman could pick up a good few points, as Eric nearly does there, nearly touching each other.
Yeah, this is it then, the last moment of this race really, and this could shape up pretty much the championship for Kaiser pretty much, because he could get a whole 15 points, and obviously with how close these points are, obviously Big Kid Daddy, it will stay as it is if it's P1 and P2, and this is why obviously the top 2 in the championship are currently the top 2 in the race, because they are so controlled, they know what they're doing, and obviously they can go for moves when they feel like it. They're on less fuel now, so they're going to go for moves more now as they go down the hill, of course, as obviously Kaito is looking for his second win, his first in a while since obviously the first race. He hasn't got one since week 1, so he wants to get that momentum again. He got a second in the second race last week, so he was looking to score 1 better. I was speaking to him like last week, and this can be 1 better if he keeps this up. As the final few corners to go then, this could be it, this could be make or break. And I think Kai's going to get the win. I don't think Big Kid Daddy's going to challenge for the move unless he finds a few attempts. This could be to the line. This could be a photo finish. We've got Big Kid Daddy, they're going to go side by side. Is Big Kid Daddy going to get his first win? Yes, he does.
Done him. He's done. Wait, who's done it? Wait, it says the Kaiser's won though.
No, it says Big Kid Daddy on my screen. Won? It was Big Kid Daddy.
It says Kaiser's won on mine.
Oh no, Big Kid Daddy's gone off. What? He's now 3rd.
Wait.
What?
No, he's second on my... Oh, well, I mean, it might just be a timing glitch there, but I think Big Kid Daddy just pipped him at the line now, I think. We're going to find out in the end. Further down the field, Jazzman finished 4th. Danny in a very impressive 5th. Hats off to Danny there. Berno in 6th. Esther in 7th. Pren 8th. Tom G in 9th, Leroy
Yeah, the
in 10th,
timings are
Carl
messed
11th.
up on my stream.
Fozzie rounds out the grid there, but I think Big Kid Daddy just did it. We're gonna find out now. Oh my God, Kaiser got it by 6 thousandths of a second.
I'm still seeing the time remaining screen at the moment. I'm still seeing cars on the circuit.
And Kaiser's done it according to my screen here. He's done it by 6 thousandths of a second.
Ooh, that's insane. That is insane.
I cannot believe that. It looked like Big Kid Daddy got him on the line because he was definitely ahead, but wow.
That is
so like these cars, they're always something different.
That's closest finish I've seen in a long while. That is just insane. Well done to all these guys. I kind of wanted Big Kid Daddy to get his first win, but Kaiser, he deserved that victory more than anyone. So yeah, that was pretty good. So ignore the results you're going to see on... I'm actually going to switch screens because the results you're about to see is going to be completely different. I think I'm going to get desynced. I'm probably going to have to reload the lobby pretty soon as well. But that was the best. That was the best race I've seen from the leaders in a long time. So I think, to be honest, it's going to be a showdown between Big Kid Daddy and Kaiser for the championship if they keep this up in the second race, which is going to be raining.
Yeah, well, that's definitely... This is definitely shake things up. Kaiser, I'm assuming he's won that. I'm still actually stuck in a loading screen. I don't know if the server's been started up again. I don't actually know what's going on. But,
mine's got 30. Mine's showing 30 seconds for me, but I've changed screens. So, as all you left a session on my screen.
Yeah, I think the sessions. I've actually been chucked out of the session there. So.
Are we having a mass disconnect by any chance?
I don't actually know what happens there. But let's move on to the second race with the wet. It's gonna be a completely different kettle of fish now. It's gonna be anybody's game. Whoever's just been practicing the most, because obviously with default setups, you can't go tinkering with the tires, you can't go tinkering with the suspension geometry to get the maximum grip out of the tires. You just gotta grin and bear it and get on with it, and it's really gonna prove who's the best out of these drivers in the wet. Whoever can master the rain is gonna come out on top here at Sugo. I don't think Sugo has many puddles. The only time I've driven the track in the wet was back in GT3 Season 10, and that was around 2018, so it's been a while since I've driven this track in the wet, and I can't remember what the puddles are like here. But we're gonna eventually find out what this track's gonna be like.
Yes, I mean, if you're seeing the fun right now, which has got what the conditions are gonna be, that looks quite terrible in these cars. You can skid on them quite a lot, and especially around these twisty turns of turn 2 and 3, that's gonna be quite difficult as well. So yeah, we're still not sure what's gone on with the lobby. So
they finished. From what the drivers are saying, they finished right as the clock stopped.
So they slowed down.
I think what's happened. I think I could be completely incorrect, but from what I'm getting here, they crossed at the line at the exact point where the game said the race is finished, but the game's also registered as going on to the final lap. So they've managed to break the game, is what they've done there.
Yeah, so we don't know what the order is for race 2 then. That's going to be tricky.
Big Kid Daddy definitely finished in front of Kaiser, but the game hasn't been able to register what's been going on.
Yeah.
Because some people haven't even got
a lot of people DNF'd.
Haven't actually got Big Kid Daddy as a finisher of that race. He's not even appearing in the classification. So what they've done and done is they are so good at racing and so close. They've gone and broken the game. Is what they've done.
Yeah.
You've only gone and broken the game, lads.
I'm still stuck in the standings screen at the moment. I'm not even loading to the lobby at the moment.
Honestly, though, despite despite what happened in that race, I've got to say that was absolutely phenomenal. Once again, the cars provided I'm gobsmacked. I've got no words to describe it.
Ooh. According to what happened, the difference between Kites and Big Kid Daddy, 0.003 seconds.
So the game's coming up with different results for everyone. So it's actually almost impossible to tell who's what.
It is impossible to tell, to be honest.
So I don't actually know what the coordinators would do here. From my thinking, once again, I could be completely wrong. Correct me if I am wrong. My way of thinking of it, if I was a coordinator, if I had the ability to do the rules, I would honestly split the points 25-25 for Kaiser and Big Kid Daddy. So that to me makes sense. That honestly just makes sense. That makes sense to me. But if the game's broke and they can't register who's won or not, split the points between the top two.
Yeah.
Is my way of thinking.
Because I think it showed different results for different people. Like, for some people the race finished, for some people the race didn't. So it kind of messed up, unfortunately. But it happens sometimes. So I think Tinnis obviously gave us a screenshot of the standings. So if it stayed as it was, Pren is going to be starting on pole. Then we have Essa, then Burno, then Danny Boy, then Jazzman, then Tinnis, and then we're not sure about Kites and Big Kid Daddy. Who's going to start 7th and who's going to start 8th. But hopefully they'll sort it out soon.
I think this is a first. I don't think we've ever come across an issue like this before in Cars 2. I'm completely...
We're gobsmacked. Absolutely gobsmacked. But well, this is the first time usually, I think in iRacing almost certainly, it's usually when the clock... I think if you get close to the countdown, then it's usually one extra lap anyway. But for some people, it didn't show that. So, we'll find out, of course. But at some point. But it's a 40-minute race, if one. No standing start, and obviously we've got a rolling start, obviously, and Pren is going to be leading the way now. Pren needs to follow what Vetra did last week, because obviously Vetra had a really good start. He was in the lead for quite a while. Let's hope Pren can do exactly the same and follow Vetra's shoes. We'll have to wait and see. Vetra got 3rd last week. Let's see what Pren can do from a reverse grid pole position.
Yeah, it's all going to be down to just, can you master the rain? It's whoever can master the rain here is going to come out on top. I've said it multiple times now, but this is it. It's really shaken things up, that finish, but honestly, I think Kaiser, I think it's going to be the usual guys who I think we're going to see up front today in the rain. It depends on who's been doing the much practice. I think a lot of people would have been prioritising the rain practice a lot, really, because I think it's a full wet race by the looks of it. So
yep,
whoever's prioritised it the much will have gotten an idea of just how wet the track gets, where puddles form, how big they form. So the more practice they've been doing in the wet, the better equipped, the better knowledge they have of how the track's going to perform. So those people are definitely the ones who are going to be having the advantage here.
Yeah, definitely. And Project Cars 2, obviously in the season, you know what the weather's going to be like before the start. So you'll have time to practice in these conditions. Whereas in other games, it's kind of unpredictable, really. They put it on dynamic weather, and you won't know what the weather is going to be until you actually get into the session. So, yeah, I think it's going to be less chaos than what we've seen in previous incidents, because obviously they have more time, and obviously since they got more time to do, they got 40 minutes compared to the 20, then, they have more time to gain positions, and if they make mistakes, they can carry on and gain advantage for people who haven't. So, yeah, I don't know. Obviously, we got Kites and Big Kid Daddy. I think they're going to climb their way up the field because obviously they've done that before. But my only issue is some of the ones who are in the midfield, they're going to struggle a little bit. So that's going to hold everybody up.
Yeah, well, the grid is here, and it seems the Kaiser is starting on pole position. So I guess they've deemed Kaiser as the winner. Yeah, they deemed Kaiser as the winner, even though on the stream it definitely looked like Big Kid Daddy won the race. He definitely finished ahead on track, but the game registered as Kaiser wins. So I guess they're going off of what the game's registered, despite Big Kid Daddy really finishing on track ahead. But I guess
you mean Pren on pole?
No, well, technically, yeah, Pren on pole, my bad, but I'm looking at the grid, and Big Kid Daddy is in fact starting 7th, not 8th, despite really winning on track. But I guess that's the way it may have gone on a lap count back, perhaps. But the full grid: Pren on pole position, Esther in 2nd, 3rd Burno, Danny Boy in 4th, Jazzman in 5th, Tinnerson 6th, Big Kid Daddy in 7th, Kaiser in 8th, Tom G in 9th, Leroy in 10th, 11th is Cart, 12th Fozzie, 13th is Mr. Kozlowski, 14th is Schwantz, and Vectro rounds out the grid. Vectro I gotta say, in an amazing position, despite, obviously, you know, you'd think, oh, I'm in last place, how can that be great? You'd be surprised at what starting in last place can gain you. Just for an example, I started last at Spa in the Formula Renault 2nd race, and there was a huge pile up, and I won that race from last position. So starting in last doesn't always mean it's a bad thing. Starting in last can sometimes bring up the best results possible. So we'll just see what happens. But this wet weather race, Jess, is going to really throw things up into the air.
Yeah, Vetro's in a good position, as is also obviously Schwantz and obviously Mr. Kozlowski as well. And obviously Mr. Kozlowski hopefully can avoid the issues and start to climb his way up as well. But yeah, I could totally agree on that statement. Starting at the back in wet weather conditions around a tricky circuit like Sportsland Sugo is the best way to go, I think, if you're a midfield driver, because obviously there will be other people involved in incidents, and you could just watch the carnage unfold, drop back just a little bit, and it gives you more time to think about the surroundings a little bit as well. So yeah, I think Vetch obviously has had more time. He's obviously DNF in the race, so he's had time to think about his strategy a little bit more as well. Tyres are going to be a major factor as well. They've got to make sure they don't overheat their tyres in the rain. And obviously the fuel as well. They got to think about that. They don't overuse too much fuel per lap, because otherwise you could run out. There was a few incidents, and obviously some people have almost run out in a few seasons. But for some of them it didn't work out. For some of them it did, obviously. I remember back last season in season 15, Wolf almost run out of fuel, but he didn't. So it was very, very close though. But anyway, I will switch to the session. There we go, man. It's not as raining as I thought it was going to be, but it is raining.
It certainly is, and it's raining quite a bit, and it's just going to rain, and rain. It's going to definitely form a lot of puddles. As you can see, the track is very slick there. This is not light rain at all. I think this is the standard moderate rain you get, just as, the usual rain. Not heavy rain, not light, just the standard rain. But going through the fields, you can see this is going to be a really tricky one, this. I can see quite a few people spinning. I think there's going to be quite a bit of contact, unfortunately, but, that's just the way wet weather racing can go. It can cause carnage. We saw that at Hockenheim last year for Formula 1. You saw what that did. It caused mayhem.
Yeah, definitely. And obviously the title contenders, obviously the two Mercedes, they had an awful race, both of them. So could we see the same for Jazz, the likes of Big Kid Daddy and Kaiser? I don't think so, as we can already see people making their way to start the formation lap. And yeah, it is chucking it down now. We are seeing a different view, and yes, it is chucking it down. So there's going to be people probably aquaplaning everywhere as well. Obviously the formation lap's going to be a lot slower than usual, because obviously of the wet weather. So chance to take it more careful, obviously. And the braking zones, they're definitely going to be different in the wet as they are in the dry. They can't afford to brake exactly the same place. They just got to think differently and got to brake early, because otherwise they will end up spinning, and it is going to be harder with no traction, because you're more than likely to spin and lose the back end.
Well, not only that, with the lack of ABS, it's like more easy to lock up. And when you saw what Jazzman did, he locked up in the dry. If it's that easy to lock up in the dry, just imagine what it's going to be like in the wet. So these guys are going to be pumping the brakes, so like you're going to see them on the brakes, lifting off and probably getting on the brakes again to avoid locking the tyres up. But it seems we're all okay at the moment. I don't think anyone's had any contact, no. But it'd be unfortunate if we did have contact on the formation lap. But we're all good so far. Can't see any puddles. Maybe we'll just jump on board with Pren. It looks like the track's actually pretty decent. No puddles yet, but I think in those 40 minutes you might start seeing a few puddles form. definitely say at this corner here, you can see puddles on the inside of the grass. There's a puddle there on the entry and a puddle there in the middle. So puddle's definitely going to form there on that hairpin at the bottom of the circuit and the final sweeping right-hander. So expect a few big puddles there, I reckon.
Yep, of course. So in these some sort of circumstances, we expect obviously for some races it dries up. Obviously, it's going to be full wet for the whole race. So at least they don't have to worry about changing tyres or worrying if it's good to be going on slicks. They can stay on these tyres pretty much the entire time as well. So that is something to watch out for. As we're about to kick off the second race then, as Fren needs to get a good start. Is he going to think about launching soon, or is he going to leave it late like Vetro did last week? And I'll let you take the start again, Ethan.
Well, here we go. We're racing in the rain in the land of the rising sun. It's Pren on pole position here in a soaked Sportsland Sugo. He's going to get the best line off. It's all about the traction. There goes Pren. He leads the field away for this 40-minute race 2 at Sportsland Sugo. And there's already contact at the back with Mr. Kozlowski and Vectro. Keep it clean, as we haven't even got to turn 1 yet. Further down the field, Schwantz up the middle. Oh, 3 wide into 1 corner. Gotta be careful in the wet, boys. Now here we go down into turn number 3. It's Big Kid Daddy, the potential race winner from last race, but with what happened with the game, it's impossible to tell. The puddles have already formed, and we've only done 1 lap. Well, we haven't even only done a formation lap, and the puddles already formed. It's spray everywhere. These drivers are going to have no vision whatsoever. You know, these cars aren't going that fast. Is that the Kaiser? No, yes. Where's the Kaiser? That is the Kaiser. I can't find these. Dropping down so far. Yeah, Kaiser's definitely gotten into the grass and the gravel and plunked it into the barrier a bit there. Has he got damage though? Don't think so. Further up the field, Danny Boy is in 5th again, and that's a pretty good start for him. Holding it consistently well. He's got Tinnis behind him. Further up ahead, there's a few cars going off, and the camera can't keep up at all. But it's Essa who is in 1st now. It's just cars spray everywhere, Jess. This is absolute manic. His Jazzman's gone wide now. He's got to be careful. He came into contact with Schwantz earlier on, and that was not lag. And that's Burner who's gotten off now as well. So the grass and the gravel is really, really sticky, and it's just catching people out. Jazzman's got to be careful. You don't pick up any more contact with anybody, because it doesn't want to happen what happened in race 1. But I think we're all good so far. Nobody's come into major contact other than Kaiser, I think, with a barrier. That is Tinnis up ahead. That's Big Kid Daddy even, who is in 8th, hasn't gained any positions. He's about to lose 2 more here. Is that Leroy?
He lost the positions, obviously he started 7th.
Yeah, true, actually, my bad. Well, he's lost another 2 there, but he's still got the inside though.
Yeah, I'm guessing he's not going for moves too early because he doesn't want to see what happened to Kaito, and I think Kaito has done, I think, what the Mercedes have done, obviously in last year's 2019 Hockenheim race. He's gone backwards, which is a shame. Very, very bad to see, but hopefully that doesn't cost him points in the championship, because if that's the race that decides whether he's going to win or lose the championship, well, if it's a make or break, really, then it's got to be this race, really. Someone's gone off again. That's Franz, isn't it? Just Franz?
No, it's Danny Boy. That's Danny Boy who's gone off.
Ooh.
Yeah, he's definitely got damage, I think.
That is a shame.
Yeah, that is a whole lot. That's a lot of damage. That's his suspension's completely gone there. It's unfortunate to see again these cars just a slight bit of contact and a ton of damage again. Further up front, it's Essa who is leading away from Jazzman, who is potentially going to be under investigation from last race. So wherever Jazzman finishes, if he gets taken to stewards, he's not going to finish where the game says at the end of this race. If he does get taken to stewards, further down the field, it's all really close. The brain's actually, everybody's kind of going slower than I expected, and nobody's challenging really. They're all taking it nice and carefully, which is the way you'd expect it to be. Front, I think that's Leroy being challenged by Fozzie. Indeed it is. Up the inside, Fozzie's definitely got the momentum. Can he outbrake Leroy though? You got to be careful. Don't lock the brakes up. You can see there, just applying the brakes very carefully there, not to lock up. And I think, yeah, Fozzie's still held on to the move there.
Yeah, well done to Fozzie for doing so well at the moment. In 5th place, which is not too bad considering it's one of his first races in the wet. I think he's just been keeping his nose clean, and that's what's helping him. Meanwhile, Kaiser was down in 14th a minute ago. Now he's up to 9th place. So, you know, I think the damage is not hurting him a little bit. If not, he's probably got less damage than I thought he was. We could see what happened to Big Kid Daddy in Oschersleben in race 2. We could see a similar effect here. Speaking of Big Kid Daddy, he's in the pits. What happened to him?
Yeah, that must be damaged. That's damaged there, yeah. We didn't catch it. I've only just seen him start to come in the pit lane.
Big Kid Daddy dropped it on the grass in the last turn, according to inside sources.
Oh dear, right. Well, that's unfortunate there, but the grass is wet and it can catch anybody out. As Danny's also in the pit for his damage. It's only just taken him that long to get there. Pren, it's actually in 4th position, so hasn't dropped off too far. Meanwhile, Jazzman is piling on the pressure to Essa. Jazzman, if he's going to make the move, he's got to make it clean now. He can't be affording to just be punting people out of the way to take the lead, because otherwise he's going to get a penalty for sure. Now, he lines up the move. Can he make it stick? What's Essa going to do? Is he going to challenge, or is he just going to hold off? No, I think Jazzman's held off, actually. It doesn't look like he's going for it. He's tucked back in the slipstream. Is he going to go for it? Looks like he is up the inside. No, he backs off. He thinks twice of it. I think that's the best way to go.
Yeah, I think Jazzman saw what happened in the last race and he doesn't want to do the same again. He just want to take as many risks as he can, especially in this wet weather conditions. And we don't want another retirement from you, Jazzman. So keep it on the track, please, guys, and you should be absolutely fine. I mean, Essa has done well challenging the likes of Big Kid Daddy last week, and I wonder if he's going to do the same here. But we know how Jazzman is a lot better in the wet compared to Essa, but sometimes Essa can hold his own, and this is not the first time this season where he's leading a race, and you know, when he's leading a race, he's good at defending, and to be honest, you may see the rest of the field hold up if Essa doesn't pull away soon, but they're matched up on pace, the top three, so it's just great to see how the wet weather could just change things up a little bit. And maybe we could see Jazzman back in the podium positions again, like we've seen in the first race a few weeks ago, because this is where he should be. But obviously his instance hasn't shown him otherwise, and I wonder if he could. It's only half an hour to go. It's a long ways ahead. You don't want to go for too much moves now, but you got to keep up with the pace with first place, otherwise Essa could pull away. But yeah, Essa doing a stellar job in first place, like he did last week in the first race.
Oh, he certainly is. Yeah, he's definitely been practicing in the wet. I can tell that. Jazzman just kind of holding off Burno, meanwhile. He's actually doing pretty well. He's made up a few positions. Is he on the pace, though? It's the slowest out of the top three, but he's not the slowest driver on track. But the guys behind, oh, look at this. Fozzie for 4th position. There he goes. Leroy around the outside of Pren as well. Pren's slowly dropping back, but Pren's got the inside turn 2. As we, yeah, Pren's still holding on to the position there. Tinnis kind of struggling to catch up here. There's Kaiser in 9th, just behind Schwantz there. Oh, Tinnis up the inside. Oh,
God.
What's going on there? So they all kind of slided into each other. This ain't going to go well. 3 cars into the chicane. That's not going to go well at all. Not quite sure what happened there. Kaiser and the Tinnis got kind of just sandwiched together between 2 cars as they slid up into each other, and kind of just got lifted up into the air. He's fine though, so... Oh, and there goes Kart. Mr. Gzowski even off the circuit there, so not good for him. A bad race for him here. There's Big Kid Daddy actually. Oh, is he a lap down? He is a lap down, unfortunately, there, so not in the mix of this at all. Meanwhile, back towards Tinnis as the camera starts to catch up. He's gained a few positions by the looks of it, I think. Now still in 7th, unfortunately. Schwantz holding on to 6th. Meanwhile, up front, it's Pren and Fozzie still. Oh, as Pren catches the curb, just a little bit incorrectly there. You see, get a slight drift on there, held it on, held it perfectly, but lost a lot of momentum there. And now it's Fozzie running away there, and Burno still impressively in 3rd in his own little bubble, just minding his own business. Up front, though, it's Jazzman and Essa.
Yeah, look at Burno, 4 seconds separate between him and Fozzie. I mean, he's doing well as well, and obviously we've got a train between, obviously, Pren, Schwartz, and obviously the Kaiser as well. So, little train is starting to form, and you can see Essa pulling away just a little bit more, but you can see Jazzman's hungry for it. He wants a victory. That's what he wants this whole time. He wants to forget the troubles he had last week, that's for sure. Oh, here comes Jazzman. Here's the attack. Here's the attack on the lead, but he couldn't quite do it this time. How they kept it, how did Jazzman not keep it, went to the gravel trap, I do not know, but he did it. He kept it there, but I guess he didn't want to go for it too much now because it would have been curtains for him if he did that. So fair play to him, but Essa, I mean, is defensive. You can tell his defence when he's in the lead is just second to none. I wonder what he's thinking in the cockpit in these wet conditions. I mean, it must be hard leading a race in the dry, but in the wet, if you're not used to it, it's just insane. There's a little bit of a slide from Essa there. Ooh, that was close. That's getting Jazzman a bit of time.
Exactly, yeah. Being smooth is the key here. It's about being smooth and gentle, not forcing the car. It's about feeling, connecting with it. That's how you drive a car. It's all through feel and not just sending it into a corner, Tokyo Drift style. Essa definitely got a bad exit out of that chicane, so that seems where he's weak. But Jazzman, he's reluctant to make the move stick. I think he's worried about what happened in the first race and it's sticking in his mind, and he's a little bit worried. Here we go. He's lining it up. No, he's backing off again. He's just not confident, I think, in making those moves stick at the moment, because I think he knows in the back of his head if he takes out Essa, he's going to get done for it. And, you know, he doesn't want to throw away a potential win here. What he needs to do is just let Essa make a mistake, like he did in chicane, get alongside before the corner, and then just brake a little bit later and see if he can get him into the corner.
Yeah, indeed, of course. Jazzman's a lot closer this time than he was the last lap, but he's not going to go for it. I mean, some of these guys in the wet, they don't want to go for a move there, but in the dry you can, but it does depend. I think it's mainly the gravel trap, which I think is stopping from people going for the move at times, because it's like Oschersleben in the dry. The gravel trap, if you get in the gravel traps, that can really cost you as well. And obviously Donington, there are a few other traps like Donington Park, Brands Hatch as well. If you hit the gravel traps there, that can cost you pretty much for the rest of the race as well. So these are quite similar, of course, but I think the lead is Essa in first, Jazzman second, Berno is still in third. We got a little train from Fozzie up till 9th place in Leroy, so pretty much a 5-6 car train. Thank goodness there's no DRS obviously or KERS enabled in those cars, because obviously it would have been OP for some of these drivers, but I think this is going to hurt Fozzie a bit more because he's not going to get that much slipstream from anyone. But for the others, it's game on, really.
Yeah, here's Schwartz. He's looking for a move from Pren up the hill here. And it looks like it's a good... Yeah, he's got the move by the looks of it. Yep, I think he has. He's just there. Yep, he's done it. Yep, he's certainly done it. Oh, his Pren's gone wide now. Now he's going to get swamped by everybody else behind him now. So that's not good at all. Further up ahead, Jazzman just nibbling off the back of Essa. He's waiting for a move. Is it going to be here? Looks like it is. Yep, he's setting it up. No, he's backed off again. I don't think he wants to make moves here. I think this corner is scaring him a little bit. I just don't think he wants to throw it away. So I think he's just pressuring Essa into a mistake. And I just don't think Essa is going to make that mistake at all. But I gotta say, Jazzman's actually got a really good run down the hill here. Look at the timer. It's going down. It's just above a 10th.
Oh, he's going to go for it this time.
No, he backs off again. I think he's just too worried about going up that inside and making contact. I honestly think that might be the case. I could be incorrect, though. Further back, Kaiser is in 7th now. He's not getting up the field like I was expecting him to. It's a lot. They're taking it a lot slower, aren't they? Schwantz, meanwhile, is up into 4th, so Fozzie's made a mistake somewhere, I think, because he was definitely quite a bit ahead of these guys. Berno, meanwhile, still in his own little bubble, happily in 3rd. Yep. Meanwhile, up front, Jazzman, he's alongside. Can he get the move? This is where he needs to get it, though. Oh, he's had a bit of a bad gear shift there, I think. He's lost a bit of momentum with a dodgy gear change. Can he send it up the inside? Oh, he's going to. He's done. Yep, up the inside. Now, can he gain the momentum to hold that lead? Because I don't think Essa's going to get that lead up whatsoever. No, I think Essa's actually got a bit of a bad exit there. Now, Jazzman now retains the lead. Now, can he hold that for the rest of the remaining race?
This is going to be tense for Jazzman. He can't make too much mistakes now, whereas Essa, he can't lose too much time because otherwise Burno's going to catch up pretty soon. You can already see a train of cars still catching up to them, so Essa's got to get a move on. But fair play to Jazzman for finally getting the move where it really did count it here in Sugo. I mean, he has been in the lead at all pretty much for these races, and I think this is now his moment to shine, and he's got to prove why he was obviously the king of the Endurance League and obviously been winning so many GT3 races back in season 14. It is back to his normal ways, and it's great to see him back on top form, but this race is far from over. We're only 2 minutes away from it being halfway, so it's a long way to go yet for Jazzman.
Oh, it certainly is, and any mistake, just like last race, is going to cost him. But I gotta say though, his pace looks to be on form. Him and Schwantz at 40.3, so he's definitely on it as well. A few guys in the 40s, but Essa just, I don't think, has the pace to keep Jazzman at bay. But, you know, any mistake can happen here, as Schwantz is now up into 4th place after dispatching Fozzie. And there's Burno, who's definitely made a mistake. He's definitely lost the momentum there, and is now within the clutches of Fozzie and Schwantz. Further back, Tinnis and the Kaiser have split apart now, and Tinnis rather just not on the pace, it seems. He just doesn't seem to be anywhere near where he was last race, and is unfortunately not gaining that many positions. Fren has gone from 1st down to 8th now, so a slow drop down the field. Vectro, meanwhile, in 10th, definitely not the race like he had a week ago in race 2 at Dubai. Definitely not going the way he wants. And Carter and Mr. Kozlowski also struggling with this wet weather as well. So it seems to be catching out a few guys and playing into the hands of a few others.
Yep, indeed. Obviously, Schwantz has got a lot of work to do, and also S has got a lot of work to do as well. But I feel good for Big Kid Daddy. He's down in 14th, but he's still having a bit of fun at least. He's still trying to get used to these wet conditions. He's still matching to the times of the top guys, so you never know. There could be other people making a mistake, and Big Kid Daddy could go up there as well. And obviously Danny Boy, he's a lap down as well, so that is a bit of a shame, of course. But yeah, S has dropped a bit from Jazzman, so I think the battle for the lead, I think it's going to be stable for a while. I think Jazzman has got this in the bag at the moment, but Essa is still keeping up, which is great to see.
Yeah, he certainly is. That gap has not gone above a second, but now that pace Jazzman's in here, second a lap faster. Someone who is lapping incredibly quick is Mr. Kozlowski at 39.9 there. So yes, the track can't be getting drier. So meanwhile, here's the battle for P3. Schwantz looking for 3rd position. Burner's held onto it for a while now, but he started to crumble as Schwantz has now done a 39.9 as well. In fact, Burno actually holding on to it. So yeah, Burno not giving in easy here. He knows he's in a good position, so he's got to hold on to it. As Mr. Kozlowski's move up into 11th on the telemetry there, and Essa actually lapping faster than Jazzman. So, like you said, Jess, Essa's pace is there, and he can keep up. But looking at this main battle here, 3-4 drivers looking for 3rd position. Kaiser's there in 6th now. Tinnis is also catching up. So this midfield battle definitely sprucing up here.
It's halfway into this race now, so anything can happen. I mean, they got to get their heads into high gear now, because every point counts here, really. And obviously after this race, it's the final 2 races in Britain, and then that's it. That's the championship over. So if you lose so many more positions, then that's pretty much game over. Ez has found more time on Jazzman, a few tenths now. The gap is stable.
The Jazzman made a mistake there. I think he caught a puddle, went wide. That's not the mistakes he wants to be making at all. Just a few more of those, and it could just go really, really wrong and go completely off the circuit. He's going to hand the lead back to Essa, but that gap almost went up to a 2nd there. So Jazzman, he's pushing hard now. He knows that if he makes a mistake, he needs to pull a gap to try and mitigate how much time he'll lose, or even prevent losing a spot there. But honestly, I think he needs to be careful. And actually, somehow Jazzman's managed to lap faster than Essa that lap, despite losing a chunk of time there. So I'm not quite sure how that's worked out.
Oh, it's 3 wide, 4 wide. Jesus Christ.
A lot of cars here. Yeah, a lot of cars there. Kaiser trying to look for positions. Can he get it done? Schwantz is now into P3. Berno has gone from 3rd to 5th, and now he's now under pressure from the Kaiser. Kaiser's looking for those moves. Tinnis is also there as well, just waiting. I think there's about 3rd to 9th, I think, is in this battle here. I think 9th actually, yes, 9th is also in this battle here as well. So
My oh
a
my.
good 6 cars there, just looking for a lot of points there.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be in their shoes now, because any small mistake, more cars will actually be affected by it, because it's kind of like a chain reaction, and we could see that. Oh my goodness, I should stop talking right now. Only joking.
Schwann's nearly making a mistake there, and you can see that he just killed all his momentum, and it's now Fozzy who's going to take that off. I shouldn't change camera there. Oh dear, I've just completely messed up seeing that overtake. He didn't make the overtake stick though, unfortunately. He's going to tuck up behind him, but you just see there, Jess, that mistake can lead to you nearly losing a position there. He's lucky he held on to that, because that was a huge tank stopper. As again, he gets grounded out on the curb there. As there goes Tinnis off in the background.
Oh, that's horrible.
Moly.
That is horrible.
And he can't slow down on the grass, and I think he's about to retire there. Oh, he went off the circuit. You know, the grass is wet, the gravel's wet. There's no point braking, because it's literally like driving on ice, and that is it, done. Essa pounding the back of Jazzman there. I tell you what, I think Essa, if he keeps this up, Jazzman could end up losing the position, because he keeps hounding him. He keeps hounding the back of him. Jazzman keeps gaining a little bit of time and then losing a bit of time. I don't think Jazzman's fully hooked up. Further back down the field, we've lost one contender in this battle for 3rd position. But it's game on here, but one slight mistake and you are out of it.
I think Essa and Jazzman are liking at these guys from 3rd downwards to hang about, because it's making sure they can pull away, to be honest. And obviously Schwartz really wants to catch up to these guys, so he needs to pull away. But he's worried he's not going to get slipstream from the likes of Fozzy, Burnout, obviously Kites as well, who won the 1st race. I mean, he could be leading the championship if he gets past these few cars, which is easier said than done. So this could be 4. Hopefully this is not going to be 4 wide. It's going to be 2 wide, actually, as some people try and make the move. As Burno, as I didn't see what happened there, but someone's got the move anyway. Schwartz maintains 3rd place. Oh, that was close from Fozzy.
Ooh, that was close there. Kaiser got a bit of a tap there from Fozzy. And Pren almost just got a sniff at 6th position there, but Kaiser held it around the outside. Burno has now climbed back into 4th, Jess. So he's not exactly given up here. Fozzy, though, looks like with the better exit is, meanwhile, Essa's dropped well within out of a second now. Unfortunately, yeah, you the time difference there, nearly a full second a lap slower there. So unfortunately, a bit of a bad lap from Essa. Meanwhile, back down here, this is where the battle's at. And Fozzy defending from Burno. Oh, a bit of contact there, but they're okay. Burno up the inside for turn number 2. Fozzy's got the inside for turn number 3. Here comes Kaiser. He's looking for P number 4. Can he get it? No, he cannot. P number 5, may I say, and that's Pren in the background looking for the move, and he can't quite get in there. And there's Leroy there as well. There's a whole bunch of cars. That's Leroy and Fozzy and Kaiser. Oh, and there's Leroy!
Oh no!
Flipping over.
And Fozzy as well!
He's done Leroy. I'm getting mixed up here. Fozzy, I apologise there.
Yeah, that definitely did not look.
Over.
That definitely did not look like Leroy, because he was an orange.
I think Leroy and Fozzy may have had some contact there, but
that's
Fozzy
probably why then.
Doing a full. And there is Burno, who has dropped down a few positions.
Oh no! And that's
so drivers starting to make issues now, starting to have some contact and silly mistakes. But Fozzy, though, a full 360, and I think his car is completely totaled there. That's it now. And that has completely shaken up the entire field now. This midfield battle has been sprung out now. They're all apart from each other now, so it's died down a bit.
That's a bit of a shame. I was enjoying that battle, but, it could close up again towards the end. But, you know, I think Kite is having a comeback at the century, because he was down there in a lonely 14th position. Now he's back up to 4th again. I mean, it's similar to what we seen last week, where we saw, I can't remember who made the comeback, but it was someone who made the comeback anyway. and they climbed up a little bit. Let me just actually look at the standings. I might be remembered on who actually it was. No, it wasn't Vetro. It was actually Car as well who gained quite a bit as well. And yeah, I think it was him. I'm not entirely sure, but could this be the gap for the championship that Kaiser needs? If he wants to win this championship, this could be the race that helps him in that matter, to be honest, because you'll get more points than Mr. Kozlowski, Big Kid Daddy, his nearest rivals. The only person he's got to worry about now, Kaiser, is 4th place man in the championship before these 2 races. He's got to worry about Essa now. He probably won't be thinking about that too much, but before the season started. But you know, Essa's title hopes could still remain in the balance. He's probably not thinking about the title, but if he does well in this race, you know, he could be one of the 4 or 5 title contenders going into the final 2 rounds.
Yeah, almost definitely. And the fact is, you know, there's still another 12.5 minutes to go yet. Of course, finishing second is going to be lovely, but if he keeps the pressure up, he may prompt Jazzman into a mistake. You can see Aston was 6 times faster last lap, but that gap's gone up a bit now. So these guys are kind of just getting spread out a little bit again now, unfortunately. So is Esther challenging for a win? There's in fact 2 tenths of a difference there between those guys, so it's so close between these two. Anything can happen. Schwantz also lapping just as fast as these guys as well, so Schwantz could catch up to these guys if he keeps up the lap times. If he keeps his lap times good, he can catch up to these guys potentially. But Essa, with the races he's been having, you're definitely right, Jess. He is a championship contender. If he keeps this up, if he just gets 2 more good races, he could be within a shout of getting a championship. But Kaiser is the one who looks like he has it in the bag at the moment, because his closest rival, Big Kid Daddy, is definitely out of it here now. Unfortunately, looks like being stripped of the win last race, and unfortunately not getting any luck here either.
I think that's what not helps him, to be honest, because he wasn't that sure that he got the win last time, and I think he was still not sure, so I think that's hurted his race a little bit there as well. But the good thing is, surprisingly, all 15 drivers still racing. That is just amazing. Well done to all 15 drivers. I mean, you know, if I was them, I probably would have been given up by now, but fair play. At least you get points anyway. Pren is looking on for a decent result. I know he started pole, but Pren is not the guy that usually maintains pole, so 6th place for him is not too bad at all, because obviously he's been gaining. I think the last week he got 6 places in both races. So if he keeps this up, I think 6 could be the magic number we can see for the rest of this season.
Oh yeah, definitely. Frank's been he's been consistently in the midfield, which is not a bad thing. It's good for him. Obviously, you know, consistency is the way to go with racing. If you're very consistent, you're going to get some good results, and you just keep stacking it up. You know, consistently performing well. You know, it's slow. It does build up over time. Kaiser also doing. You know, Kaiser. He's had good races, but they've been. I think you can agree with me. They've been sometimes on and off. Sometimes he has an absolutely amazing race, and then there's been races where he's not been where usually he's meant to be. Not luck sometimes. You know, sometimes you can just get really, you know, sometimes quite lucky with how things go in a race. You know, like some drivers may get damage, unfortunately, you know, or you might get an unfair penalty, stuff like that. So it's really just, you know, with especially wet weather driving, it's just, you know, down to, you know, a lot of factors. And Kaiser last race definitely had a very good race. This race has definitely been a little bit different. It's not been quite the races he usually has.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that mistake, I think he's just gone for a different attitude, I think, in this race. I think it's more about damage limitation for him, but that's worked for him, and he's still in 4th place. And obviously Schwantz as well. Kaiser's got to find 2 seconds in the last 9 minutes, and it's going to be close between those two as well. And I don't think we're going to see a close finish for the top 2 as we seen in the first race, but, you know, I mean, there's not much fuel left for some of these drivers for the last 8 or so minutes. Hopefully we won't see the same thing as we seen in the first race where it breaks the game, but yeah, It's all up to Jazzman and Essa for keeping on track now. It's easier said than done, but it's hard in these wet conditions. And I think Essa was struggling in the first race, and obviously Jazzman struggled a bit, well, in the first race towards the end. But these guys, I think, are forgetting what happened in the first race, to be honest. But meanwhile, Vetro, he started last, and he's up into 9th place. Obviously, Kurt, he was low down as well, up into 8th place. Kozlowski's got himself back up to 7th. I mean, that's a mantra right there. Don't give up, and you could still get some vital points. I mean, Miss Kozlowski, I think, had an instant earlier on, and he's still in 7th. So fair play to them. I mean, he could be on the fastest lap potentially as well. I think the fastest lap at the moment has got to be, Essa, I think.
No, it's Jazzman with a 39.4.
Oh, it's Jazzman, then it's Schwantz, and then it's
another 39.4.
Oh, he's gone 39.4. That's Big Kid Daddy.
Yeah, Jazzman's got the fastest lap, but only just by about 30 thousandths of a second, actually. And looking at the top two, they're lapping so close together, so that gap's not dropping at all. So the only way Essa's going to get that first place to Jazzman makes a mistake, which he did there, because you can see the relatives dropping a bit now, and it climbs back up. So, like I said, all down to momentum. Further down the field's kind of got spread out. Oh, Prent's caught! With a full pirouette, and then gets launched back onto the circuit, but he hit the he caught the grapple, sent into the barrier, and does a full pirouette, and has definitely got a ton of damage there. As meanwhile, up front, Essa catches up a little bit more to Jazzman. So these gaps are coming down. Yeah, Essa's piling on the pressure. So can Essa pull something out the bag and gain that first place? There's no cars close to each other than Jazzman and Essa and Kart and Prem. Mr. Kozlowski, there goes Prem's actually in the pit. Oh yeah, Prem crashed. My bad.
Yeah.
Further upfield, Essa's really hounded the back of Jazzman now, so this is going to be one to watch out for here.
Yeah, I think this is about to watch out until the end of this race, to be honest. I mean, you know, their fuel usage, I think they should be fine. Obviously, they just got to avoid looking up, really, to be honest, and don't overheat their tyres, which, like we said earlier, that can play a huge factor, especially towards the end when you've been on these tyres for pretty much the whole race and you haven't even pitted. So, yeah, this is something to watch out for the rest of this race, for not just the top two, but for all of these drivers as well. And there's one thing to point out here, and I'm going to try not to jinx it. No driver's got a penalty.
It's not that difficult to get a penalty though in the wet. But then a jump start or getting incredibly unlucky.
Yeah, I'm quite shocked.
Wet weather driving doesn't result in a penalty if you cut the corners. I gotta say, this battle is getting close. Essa's lapping quick. Can Jazzman lap even quicker though is the question, but Essa's in that slipstream now. He's just got to stay there and ounce issue. Yeah, he's definitely lapping faster. I think Jazzman, if he lets up, he could potentially lose a lot of momentum and lose a position here. But if he carries on pushing, he could lose a position. So Jazzman's in a precarious position here. Is that Prem? That is Prem.
It's a lap down. It's a lap down. It's a lap down.
Yeah, true. Yeah, he is a lap down indeed. This is going to be a really close battle. The only other battle on circuit is between Kart and Mr. Kozlowski, I believe. Yeah, the two teammates. And these two up front. So, really, I think the battle between Essa and Jazzman taking the priority. Can Essa get that move done? Can he out a mistake out of Jazzman? Is Jazzman going to stay rock solid and prevent Essa from making him crumble? Oh, he goes a bit wide there. I think Jazzman's starting to look in his mirrors and realise Essa's back again, and he's hungry for the win.
Yeah, Essa pretty much 4 tenths faster than Jazzman in that lap. That's insane right now. Essa definitely wants to win here, obviously, and obviously due to the wet, you hardly get any penalties, so you've got to rely on pure pace here and not making any mistakes. So Essa's lost a bit of time now. I think Jazzman's going to be a lot faster this lap here. I think he might have taken a corner a little bit less smoothly than the previous lap. We'll have to wait and see. Jazzman 144, yeah, that was to be expected. I think.
Yeah, not much of a difference though. Either really was there, just a 10th in it. It's just about where are these drivers fastest. It's a shame we can't get up individual sector times for these guys, because then we can see just where each driver's stronger. I think Jazzman struggles definitely in the second sector and then pulls it out in the first and final sector. But this is quite close again. He just needs a slight mistake from Jazzman, because all it takes is just wrong move on that painted DastroTurf and curbs, and it could all go wrong. You saw what happened to Pren, got on the curb, got on the gravel, and then he got sent into the barrier. You saw Tinnis catching the curb, he got sent into the gravel trap and into the barrier as well. So it can happen to anybody, but Jazzman, a very, very rock solid and consistent driver, not prone to making mistakes that very often, but even the best drivers are not immune to mistakes though. So Essa just needs to keep hounding him and just wait, but it's all to play for. It needs 2 minutes and 40 seconds left.
He's not going to worry about losing a position on track, because obviously the other guys are 11 seconds down the road, but you know, I mean, he'll still be happy with second place anyway, so he's got to fight for it. But he's got to worry about the traffic as well, the Prem behind. I mean, he's a lap down, but if Prem makes a mistake and touches him, that could be his race over. So Essa just needs to get the hammer down. I think he's been told by his engineer probably it's hammer time, to be honest. I've seen what the telemetry that Essa gets after the end of each race, so he knows what he's doing right and he knows what he's doing wrong afterwards, so he can analyse it. He touched the curb a little bit there. That was close from Essa, but he's keeping under control. Essa again, this time he was a lot faster than Jazzman that lap, but still not that much in it right now. This means business for these two guys as well. And I think Prem must be learning from these top two guys. What could it be for Prem, obviously? But I'm just seeing what other battles we've got. We could be Leroy and Mr. Kozlowski, and we got our first penalty. That is Tom down in 8th place.
What did he get? Oh, he actually got a track limits penalty somehow from that. Wow, that's 1 second only, and I believe we are in the final lap now. So Essa's got to pull something out of the bag, unless Jazzman makes probably one of the biggest bustles in racing history, but I don't believe he's going to make that mistake. He is a solid driver, despite actually, this is the closest Essa's been all race. And I think Jazzman's just holding on to it as Kaiser's gone fastest in Sector 1, so Kaiser's on it to make a fast slap by the look of it. Meanwhile, Kart did actually spin out at the final turn, I think, or the penultimate turn, dropping a few positions, but it looks like, actually no, we could be going on to another lap here. There's 49 seconds remaining. We're coming on the final turn. Could we go on to another lap?
Ooh.
I think we could go on to another lap here. Yeah, we're going to get one more lap out of it here. So this is all to play for now. Essa's the closest he's ever been on the final lap now. He needs to get a mistake, or he's going to have. He knows he's under pressure. He defends his line. Can Essa? Oh, he's doing it, but no, he's not. There's a bit of lag there, I think, because Jazzman launched forward and then launched backwards on my screen, so just a bit of lag there. I think that just hampered Essa there. I think that might have just been the difference there, unfortunately, and then the timings have kind of glitched out a little bit there. I think that's it now. I think that there was a slight twitch there or something. There was the car's darting back and forward there for me, but Essa's still got a chance. He's still got an inkling.
It may be too little too late. I don't know. I can't call this at the moment, but, you know, I think he might have had it a few corners ago, but now I think Jazzman launched the attack and that really helped him a little bit. But Essa's last lap of 1:39.8, that's why he was closer. It's probably one of the faster laps of the race. Obviously, we've seen a 1:39.4 from other people earlier on as well. So Essa already matching his PB at the moment, of course, but you know, they're not going slower this time, so the game is not glitching with the timings, but Essa's only got a few corners to make it work. What would he be doing now? I think he's not, I want him to challenge it, but I think he's not going to have enough. He's too further behind, so it looks like Jazzman, unless Essa can find a few temps, or it's going to be insanely close. I mean, we could have another close finish here. 4 temps, 3 temps, nah. He's not going to do it. So here comes Jazzman. He wins the second race. His first race of the season. Finally, He's gone back to where he was at the start of the season. And Esser in second. He would probably climb up in the championship, that's for sure. With Schwartz in third. We've got Kaiser. Good come up back to finish in fourth. I think you'll get the extra point for fastest lap, that's for sure. Leroy in fifth. Oh, another photo finish. Who's got it? I don't know.
Kazowski's got fifth. Mr. Kazowski.
That was close.
Just a bit there. In that. Tom G in eighth. No cars behind him to lose that position despite the penalty. Car in a rather disappointing ninth. All of these drivers down back here have finished the race, I believe, but it is Jazzman who wins. But of course, from race one, maybe going to the stewards, so his points haul is not going to be impressive as it may seem. Esser in a very brilliant second, almost could have made that win, but just not to be. Schwantz in third, like you said, is going to the tie. I believe the new fastest lap of the race, and I believe it was Mr. Kazowski. Yeah, a 39.1 for Mr. Kazowski as the drivers start crashing into each other in the cooldown session. Another good race, full of carnage, full of intense battling, and a lot of cars sliding and crashing off the circuit. But in the end, it's Jazzman who takes the win by just under 3 tenths, and then Schwantz 14 seconds off. So Esser and Jazzman just in a league of their own in that race.
Yeah, well, I was expecting Jazzman to be up there, but Esser, I think Esser must be loving these cars in the rain, that's for sure. He's going to hope that it rains all the time. So, obviously, well done to those two. And Schwantz as well, back to his podium form. His last podium was a win in race 2 in Oschersleben. So, well done to him. And we got Kaiser in fourth, Kazowski in fifth, Leroy in sixth, Vetro. A strong performance actually for him. We haven't seen much from this race, but he kept his nose clean, and the rewards paid off for him in 7th place. So at least he gets to finish this race. And we got Tom G in 8th. Then we got Cart, and then Bren in 10th. Then we got Burno, Big Kid Daddy, Tinnis, Danny Boy, and Foddy. And for the first time this season, all cars have finished the race.
That's actually a good point there. It's the wet weather race where people do not retire. So that's it's a strange one. Now, it's unfortunate we do get DNS, but sometimes, just the damage can be so hefty that it just puts you out of the running, and, the points, you're not going to get many points in it. So some drivers don't see the need to carry on. However, I've got to say, Sugo's provided well, just like Dubai, but not without the incidents again. I tell you, I think we could see a few trips to the stewards after this race, but I gotta say, Jess, another cracking week again, and Formula Rookie once again proving it's a very, very good little car for racing, despite the dodgy hitboxes sometimes.
Yeah, indeed. To be honest, I'm gutted. It's the final race next week in Britain, of course. I mean, I wish it was longer, but obviously we still have the GT3 season coming up soon. But yeah, that means it is all or nothing now for the drivers' standings. I think it is between, Kaiser, I think he's got the most to lose in this situation. If Kaiser has another consistent finish like he did today, then his title could be his, of course. Obviously, we won't know the standings properly until we get to, the standings get released by our tier coordinators. It's usually tomorrow, but it will then get updated again when the stewards come in. But some of the guys may not choose to go to the stewards. They may just talk it over and think, that's a race against it, just like Jazzman and Kazowski did last week. But I'm sure most of these guys will probably want to go to the stewards. I think Esser would hope that some of the incidents get to the stewards, because he can gain some nice points out of this.
Yeah, exactly. So, obviously, it's not nice to go to the stewards, obviously, but, some drivers, they see the advantage of getting some drivers dealt with their mishaps, and at the end of the day, it is points. Some drivers don't mind it, some drivers see the advantages of it, but, everybody's got their own little thing, haven't they? But we head over to Alton Park next week, which is going to be an even more of a challenge, because that's an even narrower circuit, probably the most narrow British circuit, in the UK, that Formula Rookie will race at. It even hosts GT3 and GT4 in the British GT Championship. So if they can have multi-class GT racing at Alton Park, I'm sure the Formula rookies will do quite well there. But the Alton Park, for me, is Britain's version of the Nürburgring Nordschleife. So this is definitely going to be a challenge next week, but I'm sure it's going to provide some great racing.
Yep, indeed. So make sure you join us for the final round, same time next week at 8 o'clock for the final time. Who's going to take the title? Is it going to be Kaiser, or is it going to be the likes of Big Kid Daddy, Kozlowski, Essa, or maybe, obviously, the other guys potentially could be have an outside chance? Who will take the team standings? We thought it could be Tier 2 Motorsport, but we could see something different next week. I've been Jess Games 95. Obviously, Ethan Graham's been VSR Rotary. We'll see you next week. Have a good evening.